Well, the question for Grandma's Home now is how sustainable is its current growth path? What challenges does the restaurant chain face right now and need to address in order to ensure future growth?
Fashionable interior decoration, low-priced menu, and a target consumer group of young people. Some analysts compare restaurants like Grandma's Home with the clothing industry and call them fast fashion restaurants. According to online definition, fast fashion refers to fashion week designs that are manufactured quickly and cheaply to allow mainstream consumers to enjoy the latest clothing styles at a lower price. But Wu Guoping didn't seem to resonate with the idea.
In fact, I don't quite understand what fast fashion really means. It only occurred in the last couple of years. We didn't have fast fashion 15 years ago. We had a restaurant before having a business model. But if I were to open a restaurant now, I would definitely establish a model first. To my understanding, we've changed from being comprehensive to specialized and niche. From being a single restaurant on the side of the road to being in shopping malls. And from one owner's business to a team competition in the market. And the consumers have turned from 土豪 to 屌丝. They've changed from coming to eat to have an experience.
One thing that puzzles many people is that although Wu Guoping puts so much emphasis on standardizing products and services across different stores, he makes each of their interior decoration drastically different from one another. And he's not worried at all that this might confuse his customers.
We need to constantly satisfy consumers' needs. Why constantly? Because consumers shop and change too quickly. It's extremely difficult for me to change my products because I had to standardize my management. But I can change my styles to satisfy consumers' needs. When they see this Wang Fujing restaurant looks different from our other branches, they would sense some freshness.
Apart from changing customers, rising labor costs pose the biggest challenge in Grandma's expansion. A 400-seat restaurant would need at least 100 staff members to work maximum at the same time. Wu Guoping says to save costs, he's made all his restaurants operating on one floor only, so that he would only have to hire one floor manager in each store. And a spillover occurred during delivery dishes will be minimized as well. But it's hard to claim one particular business model as one's own, as many restaurants are targeting the same group of consumers, using the same business philosophy and applying the same tactics. Wu Guoping says he would not be surprised if fast fashion restaurants are gone as fast as the name implies.
I might be a little exaggerating, but I believe there are no century-old brands. There are only century-old companies. We are already changing, just like the clothing industry. We launch a new brand and test run 3 to 4 brands each year. This would be hard to copy, wouldn't it?
While Grandma's Home is trying to expand to more cities in the central and western parts of China, it is also launching several syndicated brands that only sell hot pots, roast fish, or desserts.
I think if we are to expand further, we can't offer food that's too complicated. Our traditional Chinese catering is just too complex. We need to move toward lighter and more specialized Chinese food.
So, Professor, we just heard in our last piece that the founder himself says that it's extremely difficult for him to change his products. Does that sound dangerous to you? And if he can't change his products, what other avenues do you think he can embark on, essentially, to ensure his future growth?
You know, Michael, it doesn't actually sound too dangerous to me. I mean, if you have a high-quality product that can continue to attract customers and bring your company revenues, why change it? So I don't really see a need, to continuously revamping the entire product offerings or service lines. Having said that, though, I think Grandma's Home also will have to think hard about how the company will grow and expand into the future. So there are several challenges or issues that the company will have to think about. Right? One is, should the company grow bigger or grow stronger? Right? This is a common question facing all companies that are on expansion. Do you want to focus more on aggressive expansion, having more stores, or should you focus more on growing stronger, meaning higher profitability, higher profit margins, and optimizing your internal operations? Right? So that's number one issue. And also in terms of the business model, I think the company will also have to think hard about how sustainable its current business model is, right? Especially given now it's using a low price but high quality service strategy, but is it sustainable in the long run, right? Especially given the changing, fast changing consumer tastes and the rising labor costs in China. Can the company always sustain its business model as, or position itself as a low price leader, right? That's really is a question mark, right?
Okay.
And also I think the company will have to think hard about establish and promote the brand awareness, right? And the corporate culture, as a way to increase customer stickiness.
Do you think the barriers to entry, if I want to open a restaurant similar to Grandma's Home, is that high or low?
Generally speaking, restaurant is one of those business sectors that doesn't really have a very high entry barrier. But in reality, what we actually observe is a very high failure rate in this business sector. I see new restaurants opening every day. I see existing restaurants closing every day, which is very sad. So it's not exactly an easy business to be in. So if you're an entrepreneur and want to start up a company or restaurant similar to Grandma's Home, there are several issues you have to think through, right? So one is, what kind of resources do you have? Not just financial resources, but do you have the human capital? Do you have a chef, a high quality chef that can offer specialty food, right? Do you have a deep understanding of your target customers? Who's your target customers, right? And are you able to penetrate through them, right? And offer them what they actually wanted?
We're going to leave it there. Some great discussion points today. Many thanks for your time in discussing Grandma's Home, Professor Jia. And on that note, we're going to wrap up this edition of New Money here on CCTV News. I'm Michael Wong in Beijing. We'll see you again next week.